Big news today. Sean Diddy Combs has just been hit with a guilty verdict on federal charges, and this could change everything. From music mogul to facing up to 20 years behind bars, we're breaking down exactly what happened in court, what his lawyers are saying, and what this means for his future. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Diddy may have been cleared of the RICO charges, but his name will forever be tarnished. The No Diddy jokes and the baby oil label will follow him for the rest of his life. He was found not guilty of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. However, he was convicted on 2 counts of transporting individuals to engage in prostitution. Diddy's lawyers argue that he never made money from prostitution, stressing that the Mann Act was meant to target pimps or large-scale operations. They claim he never had sex with male escorts, nor did he personally arrange their travel. Instead, they portray him as a voyeur who liked filming his ex-girlfriends with other men. His legal team is requesting either an acquittal, on the basis that the law does not fit the circumstances, or a new trial without the spillover evidence from the RICO and trafficking charges. Prosecutors, however, argue that the jury got it right. They insist there is ample evidence of prostitution and that Diddy was the mastermind behind everything. They allege he arranged travel, paid escorts thousands of dollars, directed sexual acts, and sometimes participated himself. According to the government, this was not consensual play. It involved drugs, coercion, and blackmail. They argue that this conduct is exactly what the Mann Act was created to address. Diddy has already spent nearly a year behind bars, with bail denied multiple times. He maintains that the RICO charges were only added to prejudice the jury by framing him as the leader of a criminal enterprise rather than an individual facing accusations. His team argues that the Mann Act was misapplied, that the law is vague and unconstitutional, and that his actions were closer to adult entertainment than prostitution. They also argue the evidence was insufficient to convict. The government rejects these claims, stating that such arguments should have been raised before trial, not after conviction. They insist the Mann Act is clear. Prostitution is sex in exchange for money or its equivalent. Prosecutors allege that Diddy orchestrated everything, from recruiting escorts and arranging travel to paying them and coercing women, including Cassie Ventura and another woman referred to as Jane, into sex acts. Both women testified about years of abuse, drug-fueled encounters, and being forced into multi-day freak-offs. They also claimed Diddy filmed them and threatened to release the footage as blackmail. Witnesses described his violence, which was corroborated by photos and videos. Prosecutors argue that the jury's split verdict, acquitting him on RICO and trafficking but convicting on the Mann Act, shows they carefully weighed the evidence. They say there was no unfair prejudice and no grounds for a new trial. In their view, the evidence was overwhelming, and Diddy's arguments are attempts to rewrite the law after the fact. If the judge denies his motion, the case moves to sentencing. Diddy faces up to 20 years in federal prison, 10 years for each count. The judge has discretion to consider not only the convictions, but also the evidence of drugs, coercion, and violence presented at trial, even for charges on which he was acquitted. This case has already reshaped Diddy's public image. What were once rumors in the entertainment industry are now federal convictions supported by testimony, records, and evidence. Prosecutors describe him not as a music mogul hosting wild parties, but as someone who weaponized wealth and power to exploit and control others. Even after sentencing, Diddy can appeal to the Second Circuit, but appeals are lengthy, costly, and rarely successful. For now, he remains behind bars at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, with his legal options narrowing. At this point, the question is no longer about music, fame, or image. It's about whether one of hip-hop's biggest names will spend the next decade or more in federal prison. So, what do you think? Will Diddy be able to win an appeal? Or is this the end of the road for him? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I'll be checking them out. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss an update on this case and more hip-hop news. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.